Hello, everybody. And for those of you that are already logged into the session, we've still got a few people to wait for. I'm Heidi, and this is Ben Kenned from
Hello.
Rather Inventive. Hi, Ben. So, just to give you a little introduction, if you've not been on one of these webinars through this particular platform before, and even if you have, and I'll reiterate this as more people join, you'll notice that we can't see you. You can see us, but we can't see you. So participate as much or as little as you'd like, but you'll see that there's a chat bar down the right-hand side of your screen. You can please log into there, just type into there and say who you are. We'd love to know that you're here. And if you've got any questions, pop them into that sidebar and we will answer them at the end. So we'll make some notes, and if there's anything specific that we don't cover, that's your chance to let us know about it. So, oh, lovely. Hi, Sue from Sink Green. Lovely. Oh, and Angela as well. Charlotte. Hi, Charlotte. There's lots of people I can see that were on our last webinar, so that's super. And there's lots of new people as well coming on, so this is a great chance for people to network. We've partnered with a fantastic organisation called Cotswold Taste, which is a quality mark for the Cotswolds. So if there's anybody from Cotswold Taste, welcome, welcome. And please do mix with our Herefordshire tourism friends here. And if you've got anything foodie that you want to tell anybody about, this is your chance to do a bit of networking as well as learning something on the social media side. So I'm going to start because last time we ran over on the session and we want to keep it to, oh, I know, naughty. We want to keep it to an hour if we can. And I want there to be plenty of time for questions. So I'll just introduce you a little bit more to Ben and I and what the session is about. So, as I said, it's a session on marketing for Facebook and Google My Business to attract local businesses. Ben is our digital guru for Eat, Sleep, Live. And we also have somebody who will probably be logged on already, who's Kerry. Is Kerry here? I haven't seen her say hello yet. She is my little folklore fairy who puts up those lovely folklore stories. On Linda, you'll be there from Barton Court on a Friday on our Facebook page. So Kerry may also answer some questions for you if we don't get round to them. She might chip in down the feed. Kerry, that's your license to engage. So welcome everybody, and let's go into who we are and what we do. So I'm going to kick off the first half of the session, which will be on Facebook. So this is me. For those of you that I haven't met, my name is Heidi Chamberlain-Jones, and I am the founder and MD of Eat, Sleep, Live Herefordshire, which is the official destination marketing company for Herefordshire, recognised by Visit England and Visit Britain. And we do all the promotion for the county and for our lovely members. And I also have a company called Minx Media Limited, which is a business development consultancy, which does all sorts of business support and training and consultancy. So we do lots of things for the county. These are our specialities: publishing, media buying, social media, digital marketing, web content, PR, and we take the county to exhibitions. If anybody wants any of those independent services, they can commission them from us too, and there'll be contact details later. But enough of the shameless plugging. Let's get on to what you want to know about today. So, oh yes, somebody from Shropshire. Hello, Sam. From Ruby Sam Youngs. Lovely. Holistic specialist. Oh, how lovely. Welcome, Sam. We could do with a little bit of holistic therapy here. So today's session, how to reach local Facebook people. Because we quite often are posting out on Facebook, or we're getting people liking us on Facebook. And do we really know where they're from? Or do we have a strategy as to who it is that we want to target in different areas of the country, and how do we do that? So what we thought was, because tourism, which is tourism and leisure is the sector that we're focusing on with these sessions, has had such a horrendous time over the last couple of months. We're bringing tourism back on a very localized level. So what that means is that we want to get people moving around the counties, enjoying things within an hour's drive time, perhaps. So how do we target them and keep those people aware of us through our Facebook pages? How will people find your page? You've got a business page, they're members of the public. Your business page can't talk to them directly. So that's what we're going to have a little look around, how we can capture those audiences today. So first of all, you need to spoon feed people. Now, let's make sure that you're doing the basics to get people to find your page. If your page is a Herefordshire page, make sure everything is set up with all of those county details in there, those location details in there. Make sure every area of your page is set up on that story side, on that about us side, and make sure those keywords and phrases are in there that you want to be found for. Think of Facebook as your micro website that is putting out instant information, because Google is still looking at Facebook in a very similar way to how it might look at your website. So if you are wanting to put particular messaging in there, make sure that those keywords and phrases that people might be searching for that are applicable to you are in your information on your Facebook site. Now, you might think it's not important. It really, really is. If I'm looking at somebody's Facebook page, I want to know when they're open. I want to know where they are. I want to know what their contact details are. I want to know the same information as I would on your website, really. So make sure it's there. It's your first starting point. And then when somebody is looking for things and they're Googling, your Facebook page will come up, because probably you're updating your Facebook page more often than you're updating your website. So it might even, for you, rank higher than your website page. Okay. Oh, by the way, I meant to say, you'll be able to have a copy of all of these slides afterwards and the whole presentation. Ben will send that out to you. So if there's anything that we go through today that you want to recap on, you'll have it there as a point of reference forever and ever. Okay, next. Well, what do local people love? They love local stories. Kerry will testify to this, Kerry. Every Friday, as I said, we put up a Folklore Friday post. Now, this is stories about Herefordshire. They've got a huge following, haven't they, Linda? Haven't they, Sheila? Everybody loves these folklore stories because it just gives you that real feeling of, wow, that's where we live. And people engage with things that they can see every day. And it's about making people feel good. Now, if you can emulate that feeling, I'm not suggesting you do a Folklore Friday through your Facebook page, but if you can emulate that feeling of belonging for people through your page, local people will start following you. So think of a hook that might be relevant to your business, or the geography that your business is in, or the demographic that your business attracts, and see what you can tap into that might be locally relevant. You can see on our most recent Folklore Friday, we got, God, I think it was something like 14,000 people we reached. The likes, what's it say on there? Your screen's probably bigger than mine. Look at the amount of likes. Look at the amount of engagement we had on there. Now, we do get a fairly good amount because we've got over 5,000 followers, but actually in the grand scheme of things, that is a huge, huge reach. And that's because people amplified it, because they liked it. And the spider effect of Facebook means that the people that, depending what their privacy settings are, if they like a post, the people that follow them, their friends, will see that they've liked it. They might engage with it. And then it perpetuates a whole cycle. And that's what you want. That's viral social media then. So it goes deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And your analytics on your social media, on your Facebook, will tell you which posts are working and how far that reach is going, whether it's your immediate reach and how far down a line it's going. It's addictive. So what should you post about? Post about local things, your local areas. We said simple things. If you get up every morning and you have a stunning sunrise through the windows of Barton Court, Linda, take those pictures. When the frost is on the ground, take those beautiful pictures, put them on your Facebook and greet everybody in the morning with that lovely feel good. And we'll tell you how to enhance that engagement as we go on now, step by step. But anything like that, if you've got a restaurant in town, if you've got your holistic premises, your nice little clinic is in a building in town, and you're constantly walking past a beautiful landmark, take a picture of that, because chances are loads of other local people are doing the same, and they'll resonate with you, and therefore they'll comment, they'll engage. So it's really simple. It's like when you're in a crowd of people and you say to them, did you see that hot air balloon that went over the other day? And suddenly you're all talking about it. So build a local narrative. If you might want to allocate certain days to certain topics. You might want your Facebook to be a portal for a certain type of tone, a phrase. When we operate people's social management, we say, okay, perhaps let's use Facebook for this. Let's use Instagram for different types of messaging. But we look to see who their audience is, their target audience, and how that's fitting with Facebook. So set your narrative. And if you want Facebook to be your local voice, speak to that audience in that local tone, and keep the posts of a local nature. Show them behind the scenes of your business, show them what you do, be a bit creative with it, and make that emotional connection. So what I'd like you to do during this session is perhaps think of 3 posts and 3 images that really resonate with you, that are easy for you to capture, that you could post up this week. Well, we're on Thursday now, so maybe next week, that you could post out next week, or even just one that you can post out next week that's a test. And think about what story you might put behind it. Don't just put a picture up and a throwaway comment with it. Put something a little bit personal, have a little conversation about it, because this is social media after all. Okay, next one. So how do you get local business pages or local businesses to follow you? Is that a target market for you? It may well be if you're an accommodation provider and you want to be accommodating their engineers, their guests, their workmen, their visitors, whoever it is, you might want to engage with local businesses. So what's the easiest thing to do? Connect with their pages. If the person behind that social media isn't a decision maker, it doesn't matter, because they might still be talking about you, especially if you kind of make yourself a regular presence on their pages. Let's say it's a restaurant and you're another restaurant and you're thinking, well, I could do with capturing a little bit of that audience. Be supportive of the other restaurant and put some comments on their posts. Don't hijack their page, because it's very obvious when you're doing that. But by all means, be mutually supportive. You're building a fantastic relationship with your fellow business people, even if you might see them as competitors. You're all in the same boat. Be mutually supportive, especially at these times, and utilize this to share each other's customer base. People don't all want to do the same thing all the time. They will want that choice, and this is how to make them aware of you. Seems simple, doesn't it? Well, it makes sense. And when you put a nice comment on somebody's post and people see it, they'll think, oh, that sounds like a nice company. Oh, they're local too. I'll have a little look. So the logic is there. Next, what can we have a look at? Running competitions. How can we put some incentives in place to target people locally? Maybe run some competitions that are targeted to people within a certain postcode, perhaps. Please, if you are running competitions, make sure you abide by the Facebook rules. I cringe at how many people still say, like this page, tag your friends. Who would you bring for dinner? Who would you have a weekend away with? This is verboten by Facebook. People do break the rules, and you say, well, what will happen? How do Facebook know? One day somebody will catch up with you from Facebook and they will shut your page down. And how awful would that be when you've spent all your time and effort building it up, or even worse, invested in somebody else building it up, and they cause you a problem. So please adhere to the Facebook rules. There's a little link there to the page, which will be a live link that tells you what those Facebook rules are. But it's generally pretty simple. You can't ask people to share that post, and you can't ask people to tag. Apart from that, they can like your page. You can ask them to like your page, which you want, and ask them to comment, because if they're commenting on it and their privacy settings are fairly loose, their followers will see it too. So offer an incentive to that postcode we've just said. Run adverts. Now, adverts are paid for. There's a little controversy between whether, once you start running Facebook adverts, does your organic post drop the engagement on your organic post? Some people think it does, some people think it doesn't, but you could try some organic, some adverts, Facebook posts, because what they do is they allow you to target which geography you want to go to, which demographic you want to capture, and all that jazz. So that could be useful for a local boost. Join some Facebook groups, some local Facebook groups. There are loads of groups. You can do a search via Facebook, groups local to me. Facebook will suggest groups local to you. If you are an event venue, then make sure you're posting in a What's On in Herefordshire Facebook group. Of course, one of the great Facebook groups, if you're in tourism, to join is the Eat, Sleep, Live Herefordshire Tourism Group, where you can post all of your activities, you can meet with fellow businesses, and we always put lots of useful information in there, especially at this time. But if you generally want to capture a public audience, look for groups that the public can go to, as well as businesses. And that's another way to get your business in front of those public people. Ask for Facebook reviews. I'm actually going to suggest that Ben chips in a little bit on this, because he's really well versed with reviews and how that might work. What are your suggestions for this, Ben?
Talking about reviews and some good ideas on how to get them and when you should get them. But I definitely think reviews, absolutely, it shows that people like your product. It's social proof, really. It helps demonstrate that other people work with you, and it also gives you great fodder of what they're interested in, and how you can then sort of repurpose that back into your marketing, because you know the key things they're interested in, because that's what they mention in their reviews. So it's really useful from that point of view as well. But I'll talk more about it in my slides.
Brilliant, thank you, Ben. Oh, well, that's good to know. We'll hear a bit more about that later too. Okay, next, hashtags. Oh, people get so confused about hashtags. Are they just for Instagram? Are they just for Twitter? Are they just for Facebook? Actually, they're for everything now. Facebook incidentally owns Instagram, although they do work very differently. So please don't be confused by them. And please, 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 if I can reiterate, as I have done in many previous sessions, please don't share your posts across all of your platforms. It's so irritating to the consumer. Well, it is to me anyway, and I'm all of the consumers, obviously. But hashtags. Hashtags are search terms, they're topics, they're signposts to posts of relevance. So if you're posting about golf, you want to use golf, golfing, golf courses as hashtags in your post, in your Facebook post. So where do you put those hashtags? You would put them at the end of your post, not through your post, because for Facebook readers, it's very distracting to have them in your post. Also, differently to other social media platforms, you might limit the amount of hashtags that you put. We kind of recommend about 5 is the optimum amount, and the maximum amount that you should put in. So think about what is in your post that will be of most relevance. And you'll see that Facebook will start filling in that hashtag for you, because it's a popular hashtag. So if you are in accommodation, I'm going to suggest a few hashtags later on in some individual sectors. But if you're in accommodation, you might want to put tourism or holidays or bed and breakfast as a hashtag. But obviously, if you're capturing a local market, always put Hereford, always put Herefordshire, and make local relevance. We put a post up, Kerry put a post up here, which was on one of the local areas. It was a lovely sunset. Was it sunset or sunrise? Yeah, sunset. And one of the big social media topics is sunsets. So of course we hashtag sunset, you can see where that is. We might also have wanted to highlight the local area. So anybody who's living in those geographies, they might look on Facebook for that particular geography. So they're capturing posts that are posting about that, and they're going to gravitate towards your page. So this is a great way. You can see how that works. That makes sense a little bit, doesn't it? So if you're posting about camping, I'll put an example there, put camping, Herefordshire. If you're on the riverside there, I think we've got some people from some regional camping locations here. Put where you are. State the obvious, really state the obvious. Okay, next tip, and we're nearly done. Now, hopefully you'll find this slide really useful because it kind of categorizes some straightforward examples for your different sectors instead of me generalizing. So I'll leave you to revisit this. I won't talk all the way through it, but there's some tips here on perhaps what accommodation providers can post in this particular climate, because as we know, holidays are coming back, but I don't know if you know, but predicted is a huge domestic tourism trend. Huge. That means people aren't going to be flying abroad. That means even people aren't going to be wanting to go very far because they don't feel that secure. So if you are within capturing an audience within an hour's drive time of you, that's the target market, really. The kids aren't going to want to sit in a car for ages, and these are the things you can promote. If I'm in South Herefordshire, I can have a completely different experience in the north of Herefordshire if something attracts me. Now, if I'm following somebody's page or something comes up on the search I'm looking for, and that I think, oh my gosh, that looks amazing, but it's only actually on that Shropshire border, North Herefordshire, then that's why wouldn't I go there? It doesn't take me long to get there, an hour's drive. I can be in a different world. And highlight the things around you so that people know what to do, so that they're set up, they're not flailing around. Make that package for them and make it easy for them to buy. Same with the restaurant. You want people to start coming back slowly. Direct them as to how you're going to be navigating this distancing. Make sure they know what measures you're putting in place. Give them confidence. Give local people the confidence to keep coming back to you all the time, because people now more than ever will get they'll have their favorite places, but if they're not happy about the way they're being managed and they're kept safe while they're there, they won't come to you. So please make sure that you're putting those kinds of posts up. Attractions, again, the gardens are all opening. It's lovely to see places like the National Trust Gardens and the privately owned ones like Helen's and Brobery House. All of these places, they're open now at Hergus Croft. And these are the things that they need to be capturing a local market. So if any of you are from any of those gardens, keep repeating your opening times, keep putting Herefordshire in your posts, and just keep that local momentum going. Keep posting on other pages and send information through to people that can amplify that for you on these groups, on these What's On things. If you're a garden that's open, go on one of the What's On Facebook groups that people are reading. Okay, nearly done. And everybody, oh yes, there's something I've got on here is everybody, please, can you respond to comments and messages? If a reader of your Facebook post has been enthused enough to make a lovely comment, don't ignore it. It's a bit like TripAdvisor. I often marvel at the people that will comment on a negative comment to try and diffuse it, but never acknowledge the positive comments that they get. If somebody came up to you in the street and said, I really like I know who you are, I really like what you do, or they compliment you, you wouldn't just walk past them, would you? You'd thank them, you'd say thank you very much. Well, let's do the same on this social media. Let's behave as we would in a social environment. So respond to messages and comments, because what happens is when somebody public does that on your page, again, their privacy settings might allow their followers to see what you've commented, and suddenly a whole level of engagement and conversation comes through. So if you're finding this still a little bit too overwhelming, we will come on to some questions. I haven't forgotten the questions. We're going to let Ben do his session. But if you're still finding it all a bit too overwhelming, we can take it off your hands and we can do it all for you. Here's how to get hold of us. Various different prices for various different levels of packages and various different volumes of social media. So another shameless little plug. And I'm just going to move on now to hand you over to Ben. And you can find those contact details there when you revisit these slides. But Ben is now going to talk to you about something I'm really interested in, which is which is Google My Business. But I still can't quite. We don't use it enough. And I think we should. We definitely should. So Ben is going to introduce us all into this amazing free resource and how to capitalize on that. So over to you, Ben.
Thanks, Heidi. Thanks for bigging that up. I've got to live up to those expectations.
Ah.
Thanks for your slides. They were good. I always enjoy them because it's. I think you've got some really good ideas on engagement and a lot of ideas that never even occur to me. So it's really helpful. Thank you. Okay. So yes, I'm going to be looking at Google My Business and getting reviews. I'll touch on mainly getting reviews, broadly speaking, because there are so many different ways of getting them, frankly. But just to introduce myself, so hello, I'm Ben Kinnaird. I've worked with probably over 500 businesses now since I started back in 2009. I help people with marketing strategy, web development, search optimization, video, data analysis. I just love helping people become more effective and just getting over any hurdles they've got really in their business, specifically to do with marketing. I'm also the host of the Inventive Marketing Club podcast, which is a free podcast available with lots of useful information. And we've been running some form of that podcast for the last 3 years or so now. Okay, so I generally focus on 3 different areas: understanding your customer, engaging with them, and not doing it like Heidi does the engagement. She knows all about that. I just look at the very high level and tactically about how you might go about doing that, and the conversion side of it. So how you go about, once someone is interested, walking through the steps to buy. So first of all, let's look at Google My Business, or GMB for short. That's how we refer to it, because it's often you talking about in marketing meetings. It's a lot to type in the notes all the time. So I'll refer to it as GMB, Google My Business. Why should we use this? Well, it's great for local search optimization. If you are a local business and have a specific place and premises where people can visit, it's absolutely essential that you have Google My Business, because when people go onto Google and they'll type in architects Hereford, accountant Cirencester, they're looking for a local business with a keyword. If you aren't using Google My Business, then you're not going to get the advantage of coming up higher in the search rankings. And I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. So you get a lot more visibility when people are searching for local services. So it's absolutely key. Even if you're a company like mine, where you service lots of different areas, so we can work with people in Oxford, London, Bristol, Bath, Hereford, anywhere really within an hour or 2 hours drive, you can actually put in those service areas as well. So you have a little bit of a benefit from that from a local perspective. It allows you to collect reviews, and those reviews have an impact on your visibility in that search. So they are really important. You also get control of your map listing. And I've spoken to many clients where people are using Google Maps, or they're searching the maps online, and their premises is marked in the wrong position. It's on the wrong building or somewhere completely different. I know with some of you in Herefordshire may know Alex Coppock from Communion Architects. I remember when we first started working with him, his marker pin was, I don't know, a mile away from where his building was. And we kept having to drag it back and resave, and eventually Google's accepted that. But it took some time to do that. Unless you're on Google My Business and have set up and verified your account, you won't be able to do that. So people might be using it to find directions and get to visit you and going to the wrong place. So it's incredibly important. Okay, so I mean, Google My Business, as I said, is really good for getting found when people are using Google search. The very best visibility is getting into the local pack. And this is the 3 businesses that show at the top of a Google search when people are searching for a local business. So if you look on the screen, on the right-hand side, I've got accountant Cirencester in the back there. That might be a generic search for an accountant in a location. Usually, not always, but usually the first 3 results that come up will be companies that have a Google My Business presence. It may actually be a presence that Google has generated for them, but they haven't taken ownership for it, so they can't control it, but it will be those 3 there. that can allow you to jump to the top of any organic rankings. You know, maybe your website isn't all that, you haven't spent any time optimizing it to get onto page number 1, but getting Google My Business set up, you've got a really good chance of getting into that top 3. Key things that are going to help you get into that top 3 are your distance from the perceived central locality of Cirencester in this example. So the closer you are to where Google pinpoints Cirencester, the more chance you have of being in that top 3. That's okay for some, but not great for others who are in Cirencester but maybe on the edge. So the next best thing I recommend doing is getting lots of reviews. Reviews are a little bit harder to get on Google than they might be on other platforms because you need to sign in, but that's good because it verifies that as a real person. The more reviews you get, I've definitely seen that people who are outside of the given area that people are searching for, just on the outskirts, they can move up into this 3-pack of results just by getting more reviews, legitimate verified reviews from people. And actually getting the reviews isn't terribly difficult. I'll talk about that in a minute, but they do have to have a Google account. So it does limit the amount of people. Unlike Facebook, it tends to be once people are on Facebook, they've got the account already. So they're on Facebook, and many people have Facebook accounts. So it's less of an issue to get reviews on that. You also get a knowledge panel as well. So the other example on there is the Chartered Accountant McGill's. And when people search for that, specifically by name, they'll get this knowledge panel appearing on the right. And that gives you a lot more details, key details about that business. Particularly contact information is really useful. It means people don't need to dive into the website for doing that. But also if you've got any reviews, they're going to show on there. If you're posting images, I'm going to talk about offers and events that you can post on your profile. They'll all appear there too. Plus, people can ask you questions. So it becomes quite a main panel that gives the key details about your business. Also, having a Google My Business profile that's well set out, you've got full details in there, plus you've got reviews, that can actually be a small factor in normal, regular search optimization as well. So having a good profile may improve the organic ranking of your website as well. It is a small factor, but everything counts. Okay, so let's just point out some key things that I think are worth mentioning when you review your Google My Business profile. I did an extensive hour-long version of this for our club members as a webinar. And I'm going to try and condense it into a few minutes here, but I'll do my best. So I'm not going to talk you through how to set up and verify a Google My Business profile. I'm going to assume you have one right now. If you don't, just email me and I'll just help you get set up with that bit or talk you through any of those steps. But to be honest, a lot of people have them. They just haven't done anything with it. It's like a lot of these services. You set up an account and then you just leave it and you don't optimize it. So this is your chance. So first of all, look at the title. What have you got in there? Typically speaking, it's going to be the official company name. In our case, that would be Rather Inventive Limited. I don't see the point of having limited in there. It doesn't mean anything to anyone else. And maybe it suggests that we're slightly more official company because we've got limited in there, but it doesn't help me from a marketing perspective or a search engine optimizations perspective. So I've put in the word marketing. Rather Inventive Marketing, because it's just going to help tie our profile to what people are searching for if they're searching for marketing in Cirencester, or they are, when they're looking at a bunch of profiles, having marketing in the actual company title, it's just going to stand out a little bit more. It may be if you're a bed and breakfast that you want to make sure that's in the title. Even if that's not your official company name, I would try and make your company name as people would know you or as they might type it into a Google search engine. So the way I look at it, company name in the shortest form possible, plus any relevant keywords. The next things, and this is really important actually, is to make sure you look at your categories. Now, the first category is particularly important because that's what people will see on your profile, but all the other categories are important as well. So make sure you add as many as are relevant to your business. They do help ranking in when people are searching for you as well. So if you're not in the right category, then it's going to make it a bit more difficult to be found when people are doing a sort of a generic search for a business like yours. So it's worth looking at. Location, make sure your map pin is dead on right. I think the best advice a lot of these mapping companies give you is to try and put the map pin near the entrance door or where people would come in. Not necessarily, if you've got a big building, you don't want it to be in the middle of the building, want it to be the entrance door. That will help people find the reception if you're a large company. If you're a B&B, make sure it's accurate, because when you start going to the countryside, I know with some of our clients we had this, that the map pin can be way off down the road. Usually past the premises, so it's a bit frustrating that people do that. Then they have to call you up, then they have to come back. It's frustrating for them. So make sure you go in and check that map pin location is in your driveway or right next to your front door. And then also you can add service areas as well. So if you're a company like mine who doesn't have a premises people come and visit, but you do go out and see other people, you can actually add service areas in there. And I would recommend just trying to keep them as small as possible. So not necessarily putting in a broad service area, but quite small. I put counties here like Gloucestershire, Cirencester, Cotswold, Gloucester, and it goes on, Herefordshire and so on. Do include your phone number, make sure that's on there. Usually you'll probably have had this in there, but a little tip: if you have a spare phone number, some businesses have additional phone numbers and are able to track the number of calls coming through from that. You are able to change the phone number to be different to the one you would normally use. And we've done this with a few businesses, and it allows them to track the number of calls that come through from Google My Business. And the reason for it is that you can find out which source is working best, where people are phoning you from, and it helps you spend your time in the right area. So if a lot of people are coming through from Google My Business, then you can start to see it's worth your time and effort to put more energy into it. And the same goes with Facebook and any of these other profiles. If you have additional numbers or you can track things in different ways, spending that time to put this in place just helps you understand the volume of calls and where they're coming from. It's not going to apply to everyone, and if you don't have that many calls, then I wouldn't bother. But do make sure the correct number is in there and it's clear. You can also add links. You can have multiple links. You can have your normal web link in there. If you offer appointments or other things like that, you can put a separate link in for that. You can also add tracking codes in. I don't know if anyone uses things like MailChimp or Campaign Monitor for sending emails, but they'll often add a little bit of tracking code in there. So when people go to your website, you can see how many people came from that email marketing campaign, what campaign it was, and so on. You can do the same with Google My Business. You can put that tracking code onto the links you put in Google My Business and see how many people come through from that. Again, I like putting that sort of data in because it's not revealing personal information. It's just giving me an idea about the number of people who are coming through and whether it's worth my time spending effort to optimize it. And don't forget the description. This gives you a good opportunity to show what you can do and how you help people. I don't believe it helps with ranking from what I've read and what I've experienced, but it's worth having it in there so people understand exactly what sort of company you are and how you can help them. So that's just broadly reviewing your profile. There are some other bits, but we haven't got time to go into them right now. One thing Google highly recommends, and I've certainly seen benefit from, is adding photos and videos to your profile. So at the very least, you want to add a logo. Make sure your logo's in there, and a cover photo as well. So I've put a cover photo of me taking a selfie at a training session that I delivered. Just gives people an example that I actually work with people and they're broadly happy about that. And also it may be nice to work with me. But also you can add lots of other images in there as well. So I've put some examples of the webinars we've delivered, some testimonials, a little pitch for joining our club, photos of team members I've worked with. Down below, you can't see it, but down below there are videos of custom testimonials I've got from various different people as well. Putting that media on there gives people an opportunity to see it, and maybe updating it regularly, it's going to give you a little bit more exposure. So really look at anything that showcases your business, because if people are interested, then you want to make sure that you're showing it off to your best. Maybe if you're a B&B, it could be putting all the rooms on there. In some circumstances, you're able to put 3D walkthroughs as well on there. Depends on what category you're in. I do think B&Bs, guest houses, they're in a category that enable these 3D walkthroughs. If you've got your team and they're all a nice happy team and they're they like being in front, shown off to other people, then put them on there in action around the office. Show the people that you work with that they're real people, nice people, hopefully. A welcome video, potentially a tour of your store. Last webinar, we were talking about doing video walkthroughs of your garden if people can't come and see it. maybe now you've got that video, maybe you put that into place, you could put it onto your Google My Business profile as well, so people can have a quick look before they come. This is a really fun one, but actually having owner and employee interviews. So often the owner might do just an interview and talk about how great their company is. But I think it's really nice to have the same sort of thing from employees as well. So people you work with, don't just have static photos, but do some small videos, customer interviews, as I said, and FAQs. The more content you've got, start putting on Google My Business. And that's where it comes back to the tracking. If you put the tracking in place, you'll start to see if it's working for you, if you're getting traffic from it. And if it is, you can start thinking about taking all that lovely content you're putting everywhere else and putting it onto Google My Business as well. Also, and I don't make enough of this, I don't make the most of this, but if you're a company that has offers, events, or just maybe want to talk about what's new in the business, or post some of your blog articles on Google My Business, you can do that too. So they've got the ability to add those sort of types of data onto Google My Business. You can, like for example, we've got an offer for our Infectious Marketing Club. If you go on there, then you can get the discount. You can put your blog posts on there. They'll only show for 7 days, and there's a 1,000-word limit, or at least there was last time I looked, but it still might be worth putting them on there so your profile looks fresh. And also events you're hosting as well. If you've got an event, you can put the start to and from dates on there. You can link through to the event page, and it might give you a few more click-throughs and a few more people attending your event. So it's definitely worth exploring those and seeing whether it's worthwhile for you. Certainly someone who is highly trafficked in search and you see your profile coming up a lot, it's going to be worth putting some sort of offer on there. Okay, so that's all I'm going to talk about with Google My Business. What I would ask you to take away is just spend some time with it. If you haven't got one, set it up. If you do have one, go into it and have a look through, look at all the information and make sure it's up to date and see if you can exploit it. See what you can do to put more information on there. But one of the biggest things I think is so important, regardless of the platform, Google My Business, Facebook, LinkedIn, is to get reviews, to get people to talk about you, to share how great you are, what they like about you, secrets maybe, if it's a B&B or a restaurant, what their favorite item was on the menu, what they liked about the place, a little secret about it, that sort of thing. They are great, and you want to encourage those. It's social proof for other people to see that you are a real business, that people do spend money with you, that you're to some degree safe as far as they can tell. It can also encourage referrals, that the people you ask to review you feel more confident about what how they reviewed you. They see you in an even better light. It sort of reinforces that review with them, and they are more likely to refer you. So as we know, referrals are generally the number one lead source for most businesses. So the more you can encourage that, the better. This is a question that we ask a lot, usually after projects, but we ask it for in lots of different ways when we're asking for feedback from people. And I asked this particular question because it usually gets the response, which is a perfect testimonial that can be copied and pasted onto your website or onto other review platforms. And it's, if you were to recommend us to a friend, what would you say? So not only does it encapsulate everything in one answer that they're going to give back to you, but it also gives you an insight into what they like about you. So everything they like, hopefully they'll write a small amount in there, and you can take those extracts out. You can embellish that onto your website by writing the general concepts of the testimonials back into your marketing and sales copy to make sure you're highlighting on the points that people find particularly interesting. And it just comes from a simple question. You can ask more questions if you like. You can dig into specific details about what team member they liked or how they found the reception staff and all that sort of stuff. But to be honest, you're going to make if you're doing a questionnaire or survey, you're going to make it long, boring. You're going to get fewer people filling it out. And actually, all you're going to get out of that is some numbers that you can use to judge that you're doing really well. Okay, well, that's great. Fine if you want to do that. But asking this question is really useful to you because you get you get information from it. You can use that to make yourself better, to show off how good you are. But also, it might encourage people to refer you to others because they're reinforcing the opinion they already have. You could also do the very same thing in video. Why not have a Zoom call or Skype call with someone, with their permission, record it and ask them the same question. And they're going to give you a short monologue about why they love you. That's brilliant. If you can put that onto YouTube, put it onto your website, and then tell them you've done that, they may well share it with other people. So I would also recommend that you do that after a successful sale. So if you have a project, maybe something goes wrong at the end of the project, fix it, make it right, and then ask for this question. Don't automate that experience too much. If you've had a customer at a B&B who stayed and they've had a few things that need to be worked out, make sure that's done before they go, if at all you can, before you ask them the question. You don't want them putting nasty words on TripAdvisor or various other places. You want to try and control that where possible. I know it's not always easy because we don't like to share bad news with people. We don't like to say, well, it wasn't warm enough, the food, or I didn't quite like this, it's a little bit dirty. But if at all you can try and get those little bits of feedback off people beforehand, it doesn't dwell with them. It doesn't build up into something that's more negative than it actually was at the time. And actually, here's a little tip that someone told me, and I can't remember who it was, but I think it's a great idea when you're dealing with something that's gone wrong, is that there's always two tokens. One token is the, oh my God, this is the biggest problem in the world. And the other token is, it doesn't matter. Make sure you take it's the biggest problem in the world token. Because if you do that, if you say, oh my God, I'm really sorry that you had that, we'll make it right, we'll do what we can to make that right for you, and you make it world ending unless it's sorted, the customer will go, oh, no, thank you. It really wasn't that bad. I was just letting you know. If you do it the other way around and you go, and you don't make much of it, they will take that other token and they will make it into a bigger problem than it actually is. And you can use this with people you know, in your family, for any discussion you're having, but particularly with customers. It works really well. And you're not being disingenuous. It just means if someone has a problem, make it a big issue that you will fix it and you will make sure it's right for them, because it does make a huge difference. Test it out and do let me know how it goes for you. So in Google My Business, here's an example of a review. You can see actually the full screen. You can see someone's typed in rather inventive, and our knowledge panel has come up on the right-hand side. And then we can click write a review, and up pops this box. And you can direct people to do that. Often people write little instructions on how to do that. You know, go to Google, type this in, click on this. They can give a 5-star experience and then type in their details. They must be logged in. Same with Facebook. You can do something very similar. Tell people to go to Facebook, and Facebook actually has a thumbs up and a thumbs down, which I prefer as a way of thinking about business. It's like, would I recommend you or not? I find it very difficult to grade a business on a level of 5 or 10. Also, a little tip with Facebook is if you can encourage people to check in to your premises. Not everyone's going to do that, but if you can encourage people to check in at your premises, then Facebook's going to automatically follow up with a prompt for a review. So you don't need to ask them to do that. That might be something that will fit quite nicely into your into the way you work. We've got a bit of software called Sayhola, and it allows you to collect a testimonial. And at the end, depending on what profiles you've attached to it, it will then prompt you to add a review on another website like Google My Business, Twitter, Facebook, Houzz, if it's relevant, and even iTunes, actually, which we put on there for our podcast. So it'll encourage people to take that review further. And the reason I like this is if you just send people a request for a review, they might not fill it out because they're going to a different system. They may or may not have a login for that. And so you don't know what's going to happen, especially if it's negative. You're kind of pushing them out to somewhere where they're going to put a negative viewpoint out online. So we created Sayhola as a way of enabling you to very easily capture that testimonial, which we can use straight away on your website. And if people are willing, they might take the extra step to then put it on an external third-party service like the ones I've mentioned. Also, I feel if they're negative, they've kind of expended that energy in the first comment, that they hopefully shouldn't go down the road of pushing it out to the other the other platforms. Now, unfortunately, when we first started, we did actually gate the review. So if they put negative, we didn't say share it everywhere, but you can't do that. Google and many of these other platforms don't like it when you start gating reviews, because you're kind of cheating the system a bit. But generally speaking, we found that people will go into the review, give a positive review because it's thumbs up and thumbs down. And then if they want, they can take it a bit further. The reason I like it is you get the review straight away. You don't have to worry about what systems they have access to. If you want that, Sayhola is free. For most features on there are going to be free, and you won't need anything more. So just go to sayhola.co, sign up for your free account. You can start collecting those with a simple email link. Again, we use the thumbs up and thumbs down. I just find it very quick and simple way for people to collect reviews. You say hello, very easy. Yeah, I love it. I mean, one of the reasons I love it is because you can send it out automatically if you want, but you can also, we've got a little plugin for WordPress where it captures all of those approved testimonials and puts them straight onto your website immediately. And that suits me because I always forget to do that. People forget, collect all these testimonials, forget to do anything with them. I think that's everything for me. I've wrapped up everything there. I just want to very briefly mention our marketing club. So I do these sort of webinars on a regular basis. They're about an hour long. I've done about 16 so far on lots of different topics. We cover SEO, email, social media to some degree, video, websites, stats, WordPress, lots of stuff. And that's all paid for in our pro club, which is £25 a month. But you can, if you email me, I've got my email there, get 50% off that for an annual subscription. Or if you would like a free version of that, just sign up for the free forever plan. You don't get as much, obviously, but you do get our podcast. You're going to get a newsletter every 2 weeks and lots of tips and advice, things I've been reading that are useful in terms of marketing. You might want to start there first. Find out more, go and have a look at ratherinventive.com/club. Oh yeah, thanks, Sue. Yeah, I know you've just started using Sayhola for your site. I know we helped import some of that data in. So yeah, that's good. I think it should make it a lot easier for you to collect those. Right, that's me. Should we do some questions, Heidi? Yes. Has anyone got any questions that we should answer? Let's see, there was one here from Sam. Actually, Kerry did tackle this, but I don't know if it's worth you expanding on it. From Sam, do you post as your page or a personal profile?
I think there's a lot of confusion with people on their business and their personal profile pages. The problem is that you've got to make sure you're logged into the right one for a start. And I quite often find that, especially if I'm on my phone doing social media, the functionality on the phone is less versatile than it is. It's more confusing than it is when I'm on my desktop or my laptop. But if you're corresponding to the world as your business, always respond as your business, because your personal Facebook page may have you sunbathing naked on holiday, may have you drunk at someone's wedding, may have you doing all sorts of things that you really don't want people to know you for, because you want to remain a professional in their eyes. So always respond to people as your business. When you're thinking of how that could be, you can only respond to private people, if they've commented on your post on your business page. You can reply to them on that comment as your business page. You wouldn't be able to do that anywhere else outside of your business page. It can only be either private page to private page or business page to business page. So where it gets tricky is that private people can comment on your business page, but they can never post on your business page timeline. So don't worry about that. That's where a business page protects you.
I'm just interested, how many people manage and monitor their social profiles from their phone? It's something I don't do because I like the split between home and work. That actually, if I had a lot of that the social network set up on my phone. I do have Twitter, but I see that in a slightly different way. But things like LinkedIn and Facebook, if I do the work on there, I feel that I'm always working. But some people like that.
Yeah, I'd agree with you, Ben. I find it a way of time managing my work and play time. In fact, to be honest, I don't post a lot in my social media personal profile at all. And I think that's up to everybody's choice. But if you are doing if you are doing your own social media, then yes, you'll find your phone does have very, very different functionality. Some of it is better. You think, oh, I can do that in my phone. I can't do that, but on my desktop, others, it's very difficult. So it's up to you. It's your personal preferences, really, isn't it? What else have we got here? Hi, Vicky from Triopia. Oh, guys, if you don't know what Triopia is, you place to go and have a staycation. These tree houses over on the Herefordshire-Worcestershire border are phenomenal, aren't they, Vicky? Owned by the Bevans, and they are handmade by a craftsman. They are like living in something that you would never have experienced before. Everything is handcrafted around the tree. They're all built around a tree. They've got their own hot tubs, their own little lake by the side of them, completely secluded. Go and have a look at them. Go and stay. Don't just go and have a look. Go and stay. Wonderful. Anyway, yes. What else have we got here? Yes.
There's another question here. I think this is for you, Heidi. It's from Rebecca. How do we stop people tagging admin rather than business/charity page? Do you need some more detail on that?
Yes, please. Yes, I'm not sure quite what that means.
Yeah, Rebecca, would you add some more detail to your question?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yes. Frances from the Wildlife Trust says she uses her phone for Instagram. Yes, that's true. I use my phone for Instagram because you can't use your phone properly for you can't use Instagram on your PC properly. It's not made for PC. So yes, but for the purposes of Facebook, I do find that I use my laptop or my PC much more for that. Okay, Sheila says I always use my phone, but have to be really careful. Yes, yes. You'll find there's a lot of different functionality that you might like, Sheila, on the different devices. So yeah. Okay.
Just a thought I had when going through that I noted down about Google My Business is it's a good way to update people at the moment about your opening hours that might be different or any restrictions. Certainly they allow you to have additional information for COVID notices that you want to post. And it's worth having that there. If there are restricted opening hours or you're restricting entrance, I definitely make sure you're updating the information there.
Vicky's asking a question there about Google My Business, Ben. For bed and breakfast, I'm assuming you mean there, Vicky. It's not possible to do posts.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, it's really difficult to see because different categories are allowed to do different things. And I only have access to a limited amount of client accounts. So it's difficult to always see those. But I still thought they had the ability to put posts on there. That's interesting. I'll dig into that, Vicky, and get back to you on that.
Rebecca, I've only ever used the MFN page, but people still tag the, right, okay. It's not my personal one, it's only set up in the office, so no control over it. Admin name is set up as MFN. This is March's Family Network, by the way, for people who don't know where Rebecca's from. Nothing's posted on that. Okay, I might have to, I might have to look at how the setup of that is. I might have to look at that separately to this. I'll see. I'll have a little look at your page, Rebecca. Vicky, I know you've worked with them as well. If you've obviously discovered that this is annoying, I'll have check and see. Maybe and maybe again, it might depend on charity settings. If you're a charity page, it might depend on maybe that's how the settings are for those types of pages. I don't know, but I'll have a little look. See if I can throw some light on it for you. Vicky
might be right that it might be that MFN might be, there's some aspect of it set up in a personal, the name is personal, so that's what's being picked out as priority.
Okay. Any more?
I'm just having a look here to see if there's anything else. Oh, there is this one from you, Heidi? Yeah, it was. Do you think videos attract more attention on Google My Business like they do in other digital media? Well, that's interesting. I don't know stats-wise on that, actually, if they do or don't. The way I look at Google My Business is not as a primary profile. So it's not somewhere I spend my time. but it is worth every now and then going in and making sure it's up to date. And I would say, if you have the content, post it on there. I don't think there's certainly no harm in it, and the freshness and frequency is going to support it. Whether videos have support you more, I don't know. I would say if you're going to use video to boost your website or your profile, YouTube's definitely the way forward. Actually posting something onto YouTube and making sure it's appropriately titled with the keywords you want to find in there, and it's linked through to your website or the page you want to promote. That's the best thing if you've got video that you want to use, definitely. But there's no harm putting them on there.
I think you've hit on something there, actually, Ben, is that all of this digital marketing, in order to get it to link together, putting the right tags and everything on all of these things is so important. And we go back to hashtags again. Rebecca's asking, do you need to have a Google email account to log into Google My Business?
Yeah, you do. You'll need a Google account. Whether it's attached to a Gmail account or not doesn't matter, but it does need to be a Google account. So yes, you do.
It sounds as though I don't know. Are you doing some work with March's Family Network, Ben?
Yeah, we had a faster business review with them.
Yeah, I thought you'd made a connection. Yeah, it might be worth having just a little conversation. It sounds like there's some little gaps missing in the whole chain. Which of course you don't know what you don't know, do you? This is why these sessions are so useful, is that they highlight things and you suddenly think, oh, that could be literally the missing link in why certain things aren't connecting with each other. Okay, well, guys, if there are any other questions at any other time that you have, then by all means, come back to us. If you want to do any more work with either Ben or myself, you know where we are. And Ben will now be sending you out these copies of this whole webinar, including the audio link and the visual link and the slides. Everything. So he'll follow all of that up for you. So you've got it as a point of reference to go back to if you sort of think, oh, what did they say about such and such? But it's been lovely to have you all here. Thank you so much for your time, and look out for the next one. Ben? Yes?
Yeah, the next one, I was just going to say, the next one is in the diary. It's on the 1 p.m. on the 23rd of July. So we've already penciled it in, and we're going to be looking at blogging and keyword strategy.
Ah, excellent. Okay. And is that mine as well? Am I doing
no, absolutely. That's yours. You're involved.
That's my blogging. Excellent. Good. I love blogging.
I did check it with
yeah, you did. Such a long time ago. We're too organised. Okay, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.